want you to be the best version of yourself. Because remember, you know, we're on the series of personal growth and development. We've been on it, it's finished. But we are talking to some people who have come onto our lives on Fridays and they have been using the advice, a suggestion, whatever it is that their takeaway is to empower themselves to become who God has called them to become, because you know that you have the ability. The ability is in you. Not true, Charmaine?
Very true.
No, listen. I'm going to introduce my next guest because we are friends. Yes, we are friends. We're a church friend. Yes, her name is Charmaine Brimm, and she's here to talk to us about her success story. So, Charmaine, how are you doing? Welcome.
Good.
Thanks for coming in and joining us on the conversation of personal growth and development.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here, Simone.
Yes, yes. So you know that we don't have to always reinvent the wheel, right? Sometimes we can learn lessons from each other.
Exactly.
You know, we don't have to try to go through the struggles on our own and like go through the same pain. You just look at somebody's story and just adopt what you can from that story.
Absolutely.
Right? So while we were having that session on that Friday, we're talking about how to improve on your career. And Charmaine said to us, you know, I did that and it helped me to get a promotion. So today we're going to talk about how Charmaine got that promotion, what she did. It must be very exciting to have gotten that promotion on that day, right? So Charmaine, first of all, can you tell us how the Friday sessions have impacted you overall?
Well, overall, I think the messaging of just encouragement to stay focused, to go after your dreams. It reminded me to go after my dreams, to stay focused, irrespective of the challenges, irrespective of the mountain, irrespective of when you just feel say you can't bother, because sometimes the journey, you know, it's not always smooth.
Yeah.
But it has really been, you use the word empowering, it has been empowering, because it's so important. You know, you can have dreams,
Yes.
but the journey towards your dream sometimes is not overnight.
Yes, yes.
You know, I have this saying where it says the higher the building, the deeper your foundation.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes
Yes.
our dreams, especially when it comes from God, you know, say it's a massive thing, right?
Yes, yes.
And when it comes from God, it's so important. God is so after ensuring that when He establishes you, you can stand.
Yes.
And so sometimes the journey takes a long time.
Yes, yes.
So just being in on the sessions and just hearing it again. You know, some
Yeah.
things you might know, but you want to hear it from a different
Yes,
angle.
and a reinforcement.
A reinforcement. And the truth is, everybody needs encouragement.
Yes.
Everybody needs encouragement. So it has really been impactful in that way too. And it has also reminded me of, oh, but I remember when.
Yes.
And yes,
Yes, yes.
that is exactly the approach.
Yes,
so
yes.
so it really has been impactful in that way.
Wonderful. I'm happy to know that. Right? So you had an experience on your job where you improved, right? On your career and you got, yes, that promotion. I want to hear about that story. Tell us about that.
Okay, so let me go back a little bit before I even got that job, right? So when I started working, I started working at 18, at the age of 18, right? And I was working at an insurance company. I remember, so I was in accounts area. Now, the thing about me is that, you know, you have some persons who you can just look and say, oh, that is definitely their calling, that is what they're intended to do. Like I have a sister from growing up, she does children love her.
Yeah.
And right now she teaches.
Wow.
I'm one of those persons who can do a whole heap of things.
Yes.
So sometimes to find what is the purpose, you know,
Yes.
is not as easy. I started at this insurance company in an accounts unit, and then after 2 years it was like, and so I remember I started to ask, you know, HR if I can go into marketing, and you know, so certain things didn't work out. So I applied for a job in the bank. So I've moved from industries to industry. So I've been at the insurance and then I went into banking. So I was in banking for probably maybe 6-8 years. And then I started working with an international development partner, one of those. I worked with the International Labour Organization, and then I went to the United Nations Development Program. Now, while I was at UNDP, I was into the project management unit, and I was really into a lot of what I was doing had to do more with community and nation building, and I was really finding my stride. You know, I thought, I'm really loving this, and that program was coming to an end. Now it so happens that my boss at the time and another co-worker, they were writing a program that emerged, interestingly, based on the situation that happened in Tivoli in 2010.
Oh, really? Wow.
So that program actually, because the government had asked for the Planning Institute of Jamaica to design a program to address the issue there, so a particular program was developed that went to the PIOJ. Now, two of my past co-workers from UNDP went over, say, you know what, there's a opening over there. So, but this was for a program assistant.
Okay.
Now, I would have gone to university. I have a first degree, honors degree, but then during that time, I was also studying after my MBA. I was in an MBA. So when I went to PIOJ, I went there as a program assistant. So you know, you're doing the administrative and everything, but I was excited.
So you went as a program assistant. Okay, ma'am.
Exactly.
Okay. So she went as a program assistant. Okay. Continue.
So this would have been in 2011.
Right.
No, you know, I went and did my thing, finished up my studies and all of that. But then I was also in a unit where, like as I said, when I first went, things were great, you know. And then now I remembered that there was a particular person who came on staff, and when she came on, she was in a particular position that she thought, I guess, was better than a program associate.
Right.
But what she was doing was contractual.
Right.
So at the end of that, I think they were trying to create a position for her.
Right.
So they ended up also giving her a position for an administrative kind of position.
Right.
So I remember she came into the office the morning,
right,
and she come to me, I need to speak to you because them give me your position. Like,
okay.
And I'm like, so anyway, I spoke to the supervisor at the time, and I said, I don't know what this is because I have absolutely nothing to do with anybody getting whatever. So that particular situation now propelled into this thing now where it turned my environment became one where, first of all, because the program was new,
right?
So even the program manager that we had, it so happened that she moved on, and then I remember another co-worker had left. So essentially, at one point, it ended up being myself and two particular young ladies, and it became ugly. So I remember
the environment became ugly.
Yeah.
So when you're saying ugly, what do you mean? Tell us what that ugly looks like.
It means bad things being said about me.
Oh, so you were having some environmental issues, which is a little toxic.
Right, and this is in the space that this is in one unit now, right? Because whereas, you know, you say you talk about favor from everybody else, all of a sudden in this unit,
just this unit alone
that you're working with,
right?
You know, and it became uncomfortable. It became ugly for me. No, I would have said I started my post in April 2011. We were in one particular space, and then they moved us over, you know, closer into the Director General's area is where we were and stuff. And I remember at the time too, we got a new director, and as I said, things were becoming uncomfortable. You know, it's when people talk bad about you, they say things behind your back. Like, I mean, there are things that I never even realized were being said about me until after the fact.
Right. And
this was going to get me now to the whole issue of this promotion. So I'm at a point where I was saying, God, can you know them time we need a good relationship with the Lord and you know it tight.
Yes.
And then it's like all hell pop loose, and he's saying, but Daddy, what's going on here? I'm not troubling anybody. What is going on? And I tell you, the spirit of jealousy is an ugly thing. It is an ugly thing.
Yes, it is.
No, so as I said, so you know, there was a lot of praying and a lot of crying. I remember even my past, the program manager that I went there with, when she had left, we maintained a particular relationship. So I remember leaving the office one day and going to where she is and made us party, and I was like, I'm going to resign. But she encouraged me. She said no. She said no, Charmaine. And I stayed. And this new director came on, and interestingly now, I had completed my MBA now. And I remember it was time for my appraisal to be done. So, you know, I was called in the office, the appraisal was done, everything. The next thing I knew is that I was getting a call from HR to say, okay, you're no longer going to be a program assistant, you are going to be promoted to this position of technical specialist for socioeconomic development. That was my substantive portfolio focus, right?
Oh, so you're now promoted to another position that you never applied for.
I didn't even apply for it.
You didn't even know that it existed.
I mean, you knew, but I wasn't thinking about, you know, because
that was not in your mind.
It wasn't in my, because remember, I've just finished
you just finished the MBA,
everything.
yes.
So, and that particular position is it's tantamount to a director level position. It's a highly technical position.
Interesting here.
So it's not like I necessarily had a certain level of experience. But this director, unless I just go downstairs when my appraisal was submitted, and he says, I want Charmaine to be assigned to this position. So I was just called and told, this is your new position.
That's just exciting. And the favor of God.
That was the favor of God in the midst of a battle. Because I remember too, when we had a little team meeting, so my boss called us into his office and stuff, and he said, I noticed that you all have not congratulated Charmaine. And you know, it was like things like rolling your eye and whatever. But I realized that unbeknownst to me as well, obviously my bosses, my superiors were seeing what was happening.
What was happening.
Or whether them see it or not, God was seeing it. Right? And that happened, you know, and the big lesson out of that for me, because you know, sometimes God will put you at certain places, because I have no doubt that it is God who sent me to PIOG, even just the way He orchestrated it. And sometimes even in the place of purpose, you're going to face opposition.
You're going to have some opposition.
You're going to come out, you know, darts will come against you, people will fight against you, people will badmouth you for no reason at all. I mean, like, people will do things even when you don't do anything.
Interestingly, as a part of the personal growth and development, you talked about social relationships and how important it was for us to have good people around us. And it's also very important to understand that everybody is different, everybody is not the same. People are going through struggles, and sometimes they're taking out their issues on you. It's not necessarily so much about you, but it's just about the issues that they go through. But personal growth and development has to deal with a lot of different areas. It's not just about you know, developing on your gifts or your talents or whatever, but really about the inner man, the inner person that needs to grow to get to this standard and this stage where they can move into the best version of who they're called to be. So now you're promoted to this bossy promotion level. What's the name of it again? For me, because it's so enough.
Technical specialist, socioeconomic development is the substantive portfolio.
Excuse me, I can't call all of that, it is just too long. But thanks be to God that you had that experience, and outside of even that struggle, you were able to come through and come through well. What motivated you?
You know what? Interestingly, first of all, I'm self-motivated. But also prayer and just having the right support. You know, my being able to have gone to my previous boss and just talk to her. And that's very important, because you see, even as you speak about personal development and the whole thing of social relationships in that process of personal development, now more so as a Christian. Now, from a practical standpoint, Simone, it's not like it easy. It was easy, you understand? Because and this is where the crux of one's Christianity comes to the test as well, because you know, the Lord, be nice to your enemies.
Oh
and
yes,
I'm like,
we know
Lord,
it. We can repeat it
the
back to
enemies
front.
that like stabbing you up in your back and all of these things.
Oh yes.
So and sometimes when you're going through a thing, it is not easy and emotionally.
Yes.
So even as we speak about personal development, some our experiences are also about our personal development. You know,
yes.
Going back on the inside.
Yes.
You know, what was it about me that this thing affected me that
so much? That's it.
Right? You know, you think, you know, people tend to look at me and think I'm so strong. You know, that I'm just always associated with this person who is very strong. But sometimes those of us who might seem strong, there are these soft places on the inside. And even for us sometimes too, we don't recognize the level of that weakness until something come and shake it, you know. So even that experience was about my own personal development in terms of where am I in terms of my inner strength, where am I in terms of my own faith and trust in God. Although I must say that helped me. I mean, as a Christian, when you go home and you bawl and you say, God, and you know that God is saying, stay there. I put you there, stay there. And interestingly, the end result of that too, just based on just some ongoing the uncomfortableness, the Lord moved these two persons from out of the unit. In fact, they left the organization.
They left.
I remember I went to China, and I'm in China, and interestingly, even how I got to China was by essentially like one of the enemies, because this particular co-worker who thought, you know, who was just giving me a hard time. I remember we had a meeting, and it would have been over at one of the ministries with one of the state ministers at the time. Remember, I now have this post that I told you about. We went to this meeting, and you know, when the minister is there and this person was up at the top and, you know, talking, whatever. Your stool is at the back, at the bottom of the table. And this whole talk about, because, you know, Jamaica was looking at the whole development of the naval industry, etc. So the conversation is going on up there, and this whole idea about, you know, they want a delegation to go to China, etc. Now, interestingly, this particular young lady is up there. She said, oh yes, you know, our social technical specialist down there. Somebody from PRJ can go, and I think like she, you know. So then the minister says, yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
So she volunteered your service to go to China.
Miss Brimm, so they'll deal with. You know what was baffling is when I was going back to the office and stuff, and when I was talking to her and saying, oh, you know, thank you that you called my name, whatever. You know what your response to me was? She didn't know that they would have said I should do. She thought they would have said
Interesting.
And I said, Lord, when you say you will use even your enemies to bless you, and they don't even know what they're doing. And I remember I was in China, and one of the particular one, I'm in China, and that is where I understood that she resigned.
Okay. Very interesting.
So the whole idea though, you know, just going back to what kept me, what motivated me was certainly my faith.
Your faith
in God. Knowing that, you know what, just because you might be in a place and you're facing opposition doesn't mean that you must leave.
Right.
Just and sometimes we in error think that God is telling you to leave something because you're facing opposition. No. And this is where you have to know. It just keeps reminding me of Joseph when he was, you know, his brothers betrayed him and sold him into slavery. And he had this time of favor, and then when him on top of the favor, somebody tell a lie, and he went down into the pit. And then he's there again, and he's forgotten, and then after a while he's remembered. Because I remember even at one point, a particular person who was left, I had heard that they're trying to come back, and you know, somebody was trying to get them back. And I went to the Lord and I said, God, if this person comes back, then it means they're telling me to go. And they never get to come in. You know, and I could go into that a little bit more, but I'm not going to. But those were the key things. It's trusting God, have faith in what He said, and just stay focused. Stay focused on Him. and on your overall goal. Because here's the thing, I told you earlier that I'm one of those persons who it wasn't easy for me to pinpoint what is it that I wanted to do. I remember from even in high school, I was always involved. From high school going into UA, I was always involved in social programs or something, project or, and I know I found I enjoyed doing that. And then I also always had a passion for policy. I just always think I want to be involved in legislation or whatever. And this has been where my development has been towards certain things.
So certain things.
And so I know this was, as I said, I spent several years moving and working in various sectors. I come from private sector, insurance industry, then went into banking for a while. That was, that was it. I went into, as I said, I worked with international development organizations. I even worked with NGO, because at one point I was also working at our church office. But I was saying to somebody the other day that it's interesting. I was just looking back at what I am doing now and realized that all of the circles that I have been in, everywhere that I have stopped on my journey, has all converged
together.
No, because in this job, I have to interact with government, private sector, international development partners, NGOs, civil, every sector, you name it, academia. I have to be. I'm now involved with all of those sectors. So the Lord has a way of bringing things together, and as I said, it's very important that you just know that what God, it is God who has put you somewhere. And importantly though, never let opposition be a reason for you to walk away
from what God has called you to.
And what is important in that, Simone, is that when I had felt like I just wanted to stop, my emotions were high. I was in that place of my emotion and not necessarily as a Christian bringing the emotions down and connecting with my spirit man. But even for those who are not Christians, because not everybody going to understand how to relate to bring emotions down and connect spiritual and all of that. So keep it practical. So practically speaking, as an individual, when you are going through hard times and you must make a decision, never make a decision when your emotions are high. Pull back, cry if you must, and wait until you ride through the emotions, because you will make the wrong decision. You will make the wrong decision.
Listen, Charmaine has shared some very interesting nuggets, right? And let me tell you, one of the things that just jumped out at me based on what you said was that while you're going through it, you must trust, you must have faith, and you must persevere. As all the success stories come together, I think those are the things that stand out the most. Trusting God and having faith and persevering. And you've touched on most, if not all, of the whole topics of personal growth and development. The challenges that we do go through, the personal relationships that we have to have on this journey. Because the truth is, you can't do anything without people. Then you have to know how to just coexist with everybody. Listen, Charmaine, today was so interesting, and I'm sure that persons are going to watch and they're going to be encouraged and empowered. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Charmaine, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm hoping, guys, when you watch this, that it's going to empower you. That if you're in a space and you're having challenges, or there are obstacles that look like them insurmountable and you can't go over them, just be still. It will work out, right? So thanks for watching. That's all.